Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's PSM Park, another university important question for the third year MBBS students uh, in community medicine, that is flood. What will you do? What will you do before, during and after flood is very important. Measures undertaken during flood. So basically, to study flood, we need to study disaster disaster management, and then later about flood. So disaster, according to United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, so UNISTER, United Nations of Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, it has one definition, and another definition is by Disaster Management India. First we'll study United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction definition. Okay, all right. So a serious disruption of the functioning. Okay, I'll continue from here only. So a serious disruption of the functioning of the community or the society, involving widespread human, economic, environmental losses, impacts which exceeds the ability of the affected community or society to cope up its own resources. In India, Disaster Management Act 2005, it gives the definition as it is a catastrophe, mishap, calamity, or grave occurrence in any area. So, grave occurrence, mishap, calamity in any area by natural or man made causes, accident or negligence. So, by natural or man made causes, accident or negligence, which results in substantial loss of human life, suffering, damage, destruction of property, degradation, environment, and it's such a nature and magnitude that it is beyond the coping capacity of the community of that affected area. So much magnitude that the community of that area cannot cope up with the uh, whatever that has happened. So this is disaster. So it is catastrophe, mishap, calamity, or grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or man-made causes, sudden accident or negligence, results in substantial loss of life, human suffering, damage, destruction of property, damage to environment, and it's such a nature or magnitude that it is beyond the coping capacity of the community of the affected area. So the flood we are studying today is the type of disaster that is natural hazards, and in that it is hydrological flood. Okay, now we'll go to disaster management cycle. So management of a disaster which is sudden onset. So management sequence of a sudden onset disaster is important. So imagine disaster happened. So disaster happened, disaster impact will be there. For that you have to do response, and after response you have to do rehabilitation, and after rehabilitation you have to do reconstruction, and then you have to do mitigation, and after mitigation you have to be preparedness. So after disaster impact, the response, the rehabilitation, the reconstruction, this is the recovery phase after the disaster impact. So the recovery phase after the disaster impact is this much. Before the disaster, what you do risk reduction phase. You do something that will reduce the risk. So before disaster, risk reduction phase, that is mitigation and preparedness, risk reduction phase before disaster. Now let us go to the flood. What will you do? Flood, before the disaster you do risk reduction before the flood. So before flood, what do you do? See, when you go to a town, it is the government's responsibility of building the town, but when you go to this town, it is your responsibility to know the risk factors or risk in the area where they live. If there is a dam here, and your if there is a dam here, you think there is dam here, the water one, okay, not the NEET coaching one, dam water is here, and your house is downstream. So it is your responsibility to know what happens if this dam grate breaks, what kind of signals they give. For example, they gave foghorn signals. So you need to know this is a signal the dam water broke and now I have to vacate this immediately. And small floods, if there is a small floods you can see the water level. And listening to the weather forecast, very important, especially when cyclone and all come, they inform prayer only. And cyclones usually if it is coming it's going to be around the same day in the year, same period, right, in the year. So that. Now, during flood, make sure to turn off electricity to reduce the risk of electrocution. You protect people and property. How do you protect people? So you need to know the risk people. Who are the vulnerable people? Age, handicap, disabled, sick people. You all take them to the upper floor. And also take along the personal belongings to the safer upper area and raised shelters and provided for any use in floods. And then before, beware of the water contamination after floods. You know what happens during the flood.